Welcome to Everyday Tarot, your daily dive into the divine wisdom of the tarot. I'm your host, Camille A. Saunders, healer, tarot enthusiast, and your local witch next door. And today I'm talking about the Five of Swords. Whether you're a seasoned tarot reader or just starting to explore, this podcast offers daily insights, intuitive messages, and practical advice drawn from the cards. Each episode is designed to help you connect with your inner wisdom, find clarity in your decisions, and tap into the energy of the universe. Tune in every day, Monday through Friday, for fresh perspectives and empowering guidance from the tarot as interpreted by me. If you love the show, the best way to support it is by listening daily, leaving a review, and subscribing or following in your favorite podcast app. For monthly hangouts, tarot Q&As, and more, join the Everyday Tarot Patreon family. If you're local to the greater Puget Sound area, check out my Let's Talk Tarot meetup group for the latest event postings. If you're not local to my area, you can join me for a virtual tarot card creation event on Friday, June 20th at 5 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. I'll give you a list of recommended supplies. We'll meet online and I'll walk you through the process of creating your own cards. Get the date on your calendar now and be on the lookout for the sign-up page coming soon. If you're interested in my free PDF with the 2025 5-card tarot spread I created just for you at the beginning of this year, you can get that by joining my newsletter list. My weekly newsletter always has the most up-to-date information on upcoming events, presentations, and more. And if you don't already know, I'm a sex and relationships therapist, seeing clients virtually all over Washington State. I love working with queer, poly, and witchy clients who might be struggling with anxiety, chronic pain or illness, communication issues, self-advocacy, and sex. Book a free 20-minute consultation now to make sure we're a good fit to work together. And you can find the links for any of these offers in the show notes or on my website, CamilleASaunders.com/everydaytarot, in addition to the images of the cards I pull. All right, so we are into season 8 now, where we're talking all about the Suit of Swords, going through each card one per episode. If you haven't listened to my other seasons yet, you can go ahead and check those out. In season 1, I talked tarot basics. In seasons 2 and 3, I went through all the major arcana cards and an overview of the 4 suits. Season 4 was all about tarot and pop culture. Season 5, I went through 13 common tarot spreads. Season 6, I talked about the Suit of Wands. Season 7 was for the Suit of Pentacles. And now here we are in Season 8, where I'm talking about the Suit of Swords. If you want to hear an overview dedicated to the whole Suit of Swords, you can check out episode 37. But today I'm talking specifically about the Five of Swords. So if you have a tarot deck, go ahead and take it out and flip through, see if you can find your Five of Swords card. Some common images or symbols with this card are conflict, death, pain, suffering, heartache, burnout, and overwhelm. The decks that I'm looking at today are the Goddess of Love tarot deck by Gabriella Herstick. In this one, we see like 5 swords that are all crossed, almost in like a pentagram or a star shape. There's like an anatomical heart in the middle of them, and then we see like blood splatters. So your heart has been sort of punctured 5 different times. Then we also see at the bottom like what looks to me like an orchard, but none of the trees have fruit on them. They're all very dark. There's no leaves or anything. So it's almost like this dead orchard or sort of spooky sight. And then there's sort of something in the background. I can't tell if it's just a landscape or if there's a city. But it's like sort of green, but again, sort of like gray green. Like it doesn't look very healthy, the landscape. And then in the sky, we have the pink sky with white fluffy clouds there. In the Therapist Who Tarot deck, prompts by Drea Bloom and images by Rebecca Bloom, we have a pentagram here done in watercolor, and then at each of the points, it sort of looks like it's a flame or on fire. And then we also have this sort of like mirror reflection of the pentagram upside down. That's sort of, like a shadow of it there. So again, if you think of if a pentagram where all the points were on fire, you might have this sort of shadow on one side, and the word that it associates with this is destruction. This deck has reflection prompts on the back that say, how do you renew your energy each day? What is your heart's desire, and what do you see that others don't? So there is this element of sort of like burnout or overwhelm potentially, right, around renewing your energy. figuring out how do you replenish yourself. What is your heart's desire, right? Where you have the heart and the other card that's sort of being stabbed. So about like, right, what are you hoping or looking for? And it says, what do you see that others don't? And then finally, I have this Assert tarot deck by Stacia Burrington. And this one, we see like a hand coming, like the whole image of a hand coming down from the top. And then we see like black painted nails. And on each hand or finger, there are like daggers or swords on there. So almost as if like, yeah, you had like knives on the end of each fingernail or on the end of each finger there, which could be like a weapon. It could be, like it could create like scar marks or scrapes. And then the back of the card is very like red and black and sort of like blood colored. There's definitely like dark imagery here with this card as well. And I was going to look at that deck, what it says. It says the Five of Swords in the Sacerdotale Tarot deck, self-preservation, self-interest, and conflict. Looking out for yourself, taking up arms, standing up for your personal needs, seeing the world in a me versus the other way, conflict, tension, and hostility. The tiny swords attached to the fingers here show that your actions have consequences. By asserting your wants, needs, and viewpoint, others may be hurt. Sometimes this fear will keep you from sticking up for yourself, in which case pain is still being dealt just to you. That's not fair either. So this is very about like personal power, right? Boundaries, and that sometimes, right, when we don't hold up our own boundaries, then we're inflicting pain on ourselves. In the Library of Esoterica, tarot book by Toshin, they talk about, for this card, it's about problem solving, retreat, and seeking solutions. The Five of Swords warns against success at the expense of others and encourages the calm acceptance of limitations, which again kind of goes back to the boundaries idea. In the Tarot and Astrology book by Karine Kenner, they talk about that the Five of Swords is associated with Venus and Aquarius. It says, like the Empress, Venus is a lover, not a fighter. Unfortunately, that doesn't always fit well with Aquarius, who loves social groups and causes just as much as people, and they're willing to fight for them. The Aquarius is the person we meet in the Five of Swords. They're a visionary crusader, a firm believer in struggle and insurrection. Aquarius doesn't hesitate to pick up a sword of righteousness and fight for its own idea of justice. After all, Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, the planet of revolution and rebellion. Sometimes, though, when fighting for the cause, Aquarius can forget the humanity of its opposition. Unlike Venus, the sign has a tendency to love humanity as a whole, but is easily annoyed by individual representations of the group. The Golden Dawn designers of this card called Venus and Aquarius the Lord of Defeat, because it depicts the aftermath of a conflict or battle in which two of those on the losing side are walking away dejected and humiliated by their defeat. Which is interesting there. So we're sort of like thinking about how do we empathize with the enemy or the other side. In the Fearless Tarot book by Elia Adam, they talk about that the Five of Swords is about knowing your limits, not taking on more than you can handle, pacing yourself, right? Sometimes less gets accomplished when you're spread too thin, procrastination coming up, and the Five of Swords encourages you to get organized in your thinking, break down larger tasks into smaller achievable pieces that can be accomplished over time. Says, is there a huge issue looming in your mind that's giving you anxiety? Are you already so overwhelmed with current tasks and to-do lists that it's hard to see how it will all get done? And do you feel spread too thin? All right, so let's go ahead and dive in and see what the cards have today. I'm going to pull a card from the Citadel, a fantasy deck, or a fantasy oracle by Fen Inkrate. And yeah, we're going to think about how do we, set boundaries while also maintaining empathy for those on the other side of where we're setting our boundaries. How do we keep empathy for self when we feel overwhelmed or burdened? And yeah, how do we find that balance when there is conflict of seeing the big picture, right? Having, like it talked about the Aquarius, having like generosity for all of humanity, but then sometimes when it comes to the individual that is like incurring damage or conflict or that you're fighting against, it's hard to empathize with them. I picked the Astronomer, which is about discovery and augury. It says, I've not seen this card before. Okay. So the Astronomer, gold instruments whir, a telescope tilts upward, revealing galaxies impossible distances away. The planets turn, reliable and infinite, unaffected by the frantic lives of men. The Astronomer thrives in shadows, for it is the darkest night that shows the brightest of stars. Where others look to books and history for knowledge, the Astronomer knows that there are greater powers at work in the world. The constellations tell them what they need to know. You're in a complex situation, and clues on how to navigate it won't come from past experiences. Now is the time to look both beyond and within for answers and to trust in your intuition. Let go of the material needs and concerns that are holding you back and meditate on what your gut is telling you. Others who are like minded may be able to guide you. Be open to their perspectives, but don't be bound by them. So it's interesting, the Astronomer. This very much makes me think of like the star card in tarot, which is associated with Aquarius as a sign, because it's all about the sort of like cosmic aspect, thinking about the stars, thinking about yeah, like being able to see the planet Earth or humanity as a whole, but also sometimes feeling very separate from individuals, and that can be a blessing and a curse. Um, all right, I'm going to end it there for today. So links for the tarot decks I talk about will always be in the show notes and on my website if you'd like to look at them or purchase them. And thanks for joining me today on Everyday Tarot. Just as a reminder, the podcast comes out daily, Monday through Friday for all of 2025. All right, see you soon. Bye-bye.